Warm blessings from Master Shaman PaLiChee. The question today is, what do I do when my spouse doesn't support me? This is the question that I have received from those ones that have sent this question my way. More recently, and also in the past as well. I have not answered this via video, but I will do today because it has come up several times in my readings. What do I do when my spouse doesn't support me? So this question comes up when there is conflict in the family or between the two, okay? Husband and wife, wife and husband. We want to take a look into why the husband or why the wife doesn't support each other. Now, could this be possibly a mindset change issue? Meaning, did he suddenly or she suddenly wake up and believe in something new, as an even belief system, or as in a change of heart, right? So we have to decipher this between love and or another subject, okay? So when you think about it, if you were not to support your spouse, why would that be? Are you intentionally doing it just to get them really mad, get them ticked off, right? Or are you doing it because you have a change of heart, meaning that your heart is outside of the family? You suddenly have saw someone much more handsome or much more beautiful, and they click with you, okay? They click with you more than your spouse. But why would that be, okay? So ask yourself that question. Is it because due to a certain subject, the way they act, right? That could be a subject, their behavior, their attitude, or they not taking responsibility in the family, that has now basically drawn you away from them and to the outside of the family. The other question is it because you have a change of heart from that heart, right? That has led you to have a change of heart. And then the other another question is it because the way they think now, or is it the way I think? Okay, is it the way you think? So these are some good questions that you should ask yourself before you ask the question, what do I do when my spouse doesn't support me? Okay, there's a root cause to that not supporting you, or perhaps you're not supporting your spouse. Okay, so when we ask these other questions that I just posed, okay, that brings us down to a more root cause and more at the beginning of what happened to our relationship so that now we're not supporting each other. Okay, you could be supporting him fully and you can admit to that, but then he may not admit to that. He may see you supporting him in certain areas but not in other areas. And then you now, let's say you wanted to be more successful, so you went into real estate, or you went into a totally different career path than you started when you guys were married. So now maybe he doesn't agree with you going into that, and he doesn't support you just because he doesn't agree with you. That's a subject, okay? But that has nothing to do with a change of heart. He can still love you, but he just doesn't agree with you in that area, in the career area. So then the question that you would be asking is, what do I do when he doesn't support me? One question for you is, do you want him to support you? And just because he doesn't agree with you, do you continue on with what you thought you were going to go into? For example, a new career. Okay? So my response to that is, yes, You continue with what you feel that is correct for you and what you feel comfortable with, even though he may not agree with you or she may not agree with you. But will it support the family? Will it also bring happiness to you? If it brings happiness to you fully, and you know that for sure, then he will somewhat or somehow support you in the end, if he loves you or if she loves you. Okay? But if this is different from the subject and is more with the heart, the love, if the love and shifting of the heart has happened, therefore your spouse is utilizing a shift of heart, a change of heart, for not supporting you in a certain area, then this is going to get your whole relationship into big trouble, or you doing the same to him. If you are not supporting your spouse due to a change of heart, then you need to take a look at this twice. Okay? Why am I not supporting my spouse? Or the question is, why isn't my spouse supporting me? If it is due, and you feel that deeply when you're a spouse, okay? When you have a partner, you feel that deeply from the partner. If they are in fact have a change of heart, their act, their behavior becomes different. And therefore, you are separating each other. You are in a mode where you are annoyed by each other, or you are not close together anymore. You don't feel close. You don't feel intimate. And this is when what I was talking about, the change of heart. So therefore, that spouse doesn't want to support you anymore, or doesn't have the feeling to support you anymore. But they may have felt that you didn't support them in a certain area before this occurred, before this question occurred of why they are not supporting you. Okay? So in this, there's a story that I would like to talk to you about. One day, there was a husband and a wife. And the wife and the husband met, and they suddenly got married. After a few weeks of knowing each other, they knew, they had a feeling, and they had connection, and the chemical reaction between the both of them was very, very good. But it was like 10-15 years later, and this couple, the wife became totally went into a totally different area in the eyes of the husband, because she became more spiritual. And the husband now couldn't stand this spirituality, because they weren't that spiritual before. And so the husband would be thrown off, or would be turned off when the wife was very spiritual, because he thought that this was a sort of a bogus type of thing. His judgment of it was totally off of what his wife was doing. Then suddenly one day, after a few years in it, and they were sticking together still, even though some things they didn't support each other on, both were at fault of not supporting each other. But one day, the husband started to realize that his wife was on the right track, and that maybe he should look into himself, that maybe he should also find the root of where his spiritual root comes from. So his spirituality, right? Where does he come from? Where is that missing link? Why isn't he happy? And why isn't he focused in his career or other areas? Because he saw his wife become very successful in what she was doing, because she kept on doing it, even though he didn't support her. He could, I would say the support was about a 20-80%, okay? 20% support, and 80% the wife was just continuing to do what she felt that was good for the family or for herself, that she was happy, and she just kept doing it 80% without his support. So one day the wife became very good at what she was doing, and her husband then suddenly had a turn or a change in his mind. His limiting beliefs left him, and he was way more opened after meeting some of the people that his wife was helping. And to this day, the husband had, if you take a look at it, the husband has started to slowly shift and to slowly leave his limiting beliefs and to slowly become a spiritual person, a more spiritual person than he ever was. And suddenly, the two are supporting each other. When they talk, they are on the same page. And it may not be totally the same page, but it is so much more at about 85% than what it used to be at about a 20-80%. So I just wanted to share this story because this couple, when they talk to other people now and other people come to both of them for help, they are always in agreement. Why? Because there was belief and love, still sticking together through love. One person in the relationship was still very, I would say, head on, or still very connected with love, and was able to decipher love from subjects on why they were together in the relationship. So because of this deciphering of love from other subjects, other reasons why you didn't support each other. If love is there, you will always support each other, no matter what faith, no matter what the subject that comes into distraction of the relationship, no matter what another family member says, no matter what events happened, the couple still stuck together through thick and thin. And till this day, this couple is still very much in love and has actually become more intimate because there was also someone in the relationship. It does take two, but it only takes one to believe. It does take two to have somewhat of a belief, but it only takes one energy to believe strong and to continue that belief in the relationship. And when the one energy can believe on a very 100% level, then the relationship can continue and actually become stronger than it was before. I hope that this story has also inspired you to continue your relationships. If you are the one that's not supporting your spouse, I want you to think twice and decipher love from the subjects or objects that are getting in the way of you supporting your spouse. Now, if it is that you have or had a change of heart, then I also want you to think about why you've had that change of heart. Was it because of yourself that you just started to not love your wife out of any instance? Or or you as being the female not love your husband for what he has, an event. Okay, this is a subject or object or event that has happened. Or is it because a change of heart? You just suddenly didn't feel like you love them anymore. I will guarantee you that there is some type of action that took place to cause you not to love your spouse or to support them in a certain area or way. So go back to the beginning and ask yourself the question, what triggered you to not support your spouse? What triggered you to have a change of heart? And if it is a change of heart, then I want you to go back and spend more time with your spouse to become the person who you were before when you married, when you first met. Go back to the beginning, the basics of when you first met, and to think about how you thought about your spouse back then. Because at that beginning was when the sparks became. And because the sparks have now died down, then one little instance could blow up everything for your relationship. And you don't want that to happen due to some really, I want to say dumb event, or some really small difference between the two. It could be even a big difference, as in that person has a totally different faith now than you. But can that stop love? And the question also I get a lot of times is, how do I know it's love? How do you know it's love? You'll know it's love when you can't sleep. When you slept about, a couple days or a week and you still think about this person. When you are close to this person and you feel, like you did before, flutters in your stomach. Also, when you talk to someone else and it just isn't as satisfying as when you talk to your spouse. That is when you know that is very real and that you can't let go of this person. Also, if this person just keeps coming back, whether instances in your head or whether physically keep coming back to talk to you. Yet, they can have this, they could be desperate as well, but you'll know in your heart when there is true love there. There will be signs, there will be flutters in your stomach, like you did before with your spouse, right? When you've met, you'll feel like this person, you can't find another person like this in the whole wide world. That is when you'll also know that you can't let go. Even though another person can be much more attractive, can be young or can be old. You could be attracted to older people as well. But just know that the question is, can you live with this other person and can you stand them? Everybody has bad habits. Everybody has good. But some are going to be more worse than others that you can stand or can't stand. So have these questions in your head if you are not supporting your spouse. And if you are supporting your spouse, but your spouse is not supporting you, then you want to pose these questions to your spouse, even during a yelling and crying argument. I hope that you don't get to that, or if you have, you need to come back to some silence and peace, and then question each other more honestly. Being honest with each other is going to be the best way, whether you go out or whether you come back in. This is Master Shaman PaLiChee, and I wish you warm blessings